crowd pleaser, try this. Making bombs and bullets from the movies. Pushing your luck to win the jackpot. Or abseiling down a world icon. Ways to impress people or extreme jobs. We're told not to play with fire. And as for gunpowder, or highly flammable propane gas, anyone who handles all this for a living better know something about risk assessment. Johnny Rafik and Nick Rideout are pyrotechnicians. They own and operate Element Special Effects in London.
This is what we do. There's no point in worrying about what might happen that morning in terms of whether we're going to come home in one piece. The idea is that we are coming home in one piece, and so is the rest of the crew. Morning, boys.
Wise words. Nick and Johnny are specialists, and in high demand in film and television. The job begins on the drawing board, planning the next car bomb, gun battle, or inferno.
By the time it gets to 31st.
Storyboarding reduces the risk of anyone getting hurt.
How far across they're going to have to bring the actors to get the camera from that angle to see the actors approach.
It's imperative for us to test before any effect goes out of the workshop, regardless of what it is. It's tested. If it's a pyrotechnic effect, as we're going to get in today, we have to test them down. What they want is the actors to cross frame, so they've got the arrow drawn there. They're going to cross from left to right. So as they come across, our bullet hits.
You need to understand
will start
filmmaking
just
as
behind
much as
them,
pyrotechnics.
so that it looks as though they're just getting out.
And be able to trade off your art against safety.
We've basically just laid in 5 bullet hits into the back of the board, covered them with steel plates to ensure that the charge goes forwards rather than backwards, and then this would normally be fixed up against the wall, and then to all intents and purposes you've got a wall with the bullet hits already pricked inside it.
A single explosive in the wrong place could end a career, even a life.
Three, two, one.
This may look like boys playing with toys, but imitating danger is deadly serious.
Obviously, inherently, what we do is dangerous. There are, cases throughout, filmmaking where special effects have had, problems on them. Touch wood, we've not had anything that's actually hurt anybody or, damaged anything heavily.
The next stage is to try the explosives out on an actor. Pay attention now. The devil's in the detail.
All sorts of different sizes that we use. Today, the most used size is a D81, which is also known as an aspirin det. Some days, the smaller half size, and on days when you get the shotguns out, the big 2s. These ones actually smart quite a bit when you do them, so he's lucky today that we're just using a 1.
A number 1 will create an effect of a bullet hole from a handgun. Now comes the hard bit.
If the vest isn't tight against your body, because you've got quite a lot of force on top of this, when it goes off, it can push the plate back. And if you're in a position where the vest's actually sitting off your body, they'll come back and slap against you. But we do get problems sometimes with actors who've never done this kind of thing before. They expect there to be quite an impact. And if you get it just right, sometimes they don't even feel it. And we've had guys who just stood there and you do the bullet hit and they go, what happened? The most dangerous thing about it is the artist, because we don't know what he's like, we don't know how experienced he is with this kind of stuff. And 9 out of 10 accidents that would happen would involve the artist putting his arms or a bit of his body in front of something or going over to the wrong place. Because you've got the 3 detonators on there, we would then tell the artist exactly where they are, so he knows where they are. He'd have a completely choreographed move if he's doing fighting or shooting a gun or something like that. He's got to know that he can't put his arm over here when this detonator's going off, because although they're completely protected from behind, there's obviously nothing in front of them.
You get all that? Yeah. This is going to be our the crash plane, and this is going to be our gas mortar going
A gas
on.
explosion. Just one of around 50 different spectacles Nick and Johnny stage every year.
POV of this
Can
thing
handling
going off.
deadly explosives ever seem too easy?
We've had a long time in the industry using the stuff, so you're used to using it. You're not overzealous with it, you're not daft with it, and you're very respectful of what it could do if it goes wrong. But we have, you know, you have to look at it, these are the tools that we use.
They also create snow, floods, and of course a lot of smoke for an annual turnover that can reach €400,000 a year. It's a volatile trade.
Obviously, there's case histories of things that haven't quite worked well. You know, I suppose the most famous of them in terms of British film industry is the 007 stage at Pinewood was burnt down one afternoon. But you know, obviously there have been effects guys been hurt, and you know, there's been one or two killed over the years. But you know, we kind of keep ourselves to our own teams, and you know, share the information when one of us knows something's happened. One of us will talk, you know, we'll all talk to each other and say, don't do it this way.
Now for the grand finale. Days or weeks of work come down to only 3 seconds. It has to work.
It's a cloud of petrol set on fire, so as it goes up into the sky, our main consideration from the minute that it fires is where it lands.
It doesn't get more dangerous than this. I mean, there are bigger things to do, but it's black powder. It'll blow your hands off. It'll blow you into little pieces if you get it wrong. But we're ready to load.
Yeah. So you guys got to walk away a bit so we can load it up with the petrol. The bigger the better for us. The more we can show our skills off, the better. But there's a moment for all of us, and I've spoken to a lot of effects guys, it's when we're all by our firing boxes, if that's what we're doing, and we're all getting ready to do the effect, and it comes down to the last minute or two, and it's just you guys, the guys you work with all the time, you know, the laughing and joking stops, you can see the anticipation on their faces, then you get the 30 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever, worth of doing, so you're so locked into the job anyhow, nothing else is going on in your life. 3, 2, 1.
So, sound logistics, a cool head, perseverance, and knowing enough chemistry and physics to handle explosives are essential qualities in this job. Maybe staying behind the scenes can be more fun than being in the limelight. How many people does it take to change a light bulb? Answer, 1. But you'll need to be an MC. Confused, all will be revealed. But first, they are the featherweight champions of the horsewood. Some of them are millionaires. We head east to meet a world-class jackpot jockey. This is one of the most prestigious racetracks on the planet, Sharjah in Hong Kong. Anthony Delpache has dreamed of racing in Hong Kong for years. At 36, he's a champion jockey at home in South Africa, winning over 50 races last season. But can he cut it here?
The stakes are very high, and that's what attracted me also to coming right here, the atmosphere, the entertainment of the racing and the stake.
High stakes, big winnings, huge risks.
My worst accident was in Singapore, where a horse broke his leg up the straight with me, and I lost all my gum in the front. I lost all my front teeth. All my teeth went through my palate. I cut my bottom lip all the way down. I had about 34 stitches in my mouth. That was my worst injury.
Last season, Anthony raced 504 times. His winnings, a cool €6 million. Worth it? You bet. The more you win, the better the rides that come your way from top owners like Lucy Wong. She owns Elvis, who could be Anthony's mount for his first race in Hong Kong.
No, there are about 6 million people in Hong Kong. And to owning a horse, become an owner, there are only 700 people or so. In this way, it is a privilege.
Lucy spends over €1,000 a month on Elvis. With that kind of investment, Anthony's under scrutiny. Round here, he's unknown. Will Lucy take a chance on him?
How's this jockey, Anthony?
I think he may be a good jockey because he's a South African champion. I think, you know.
Oh, he's a South African champion.
Yeah. I never see him how he rides, but I think I believe he's a good jockey, you know.
Anthony gets the gig. Despite 20 years in the saddle, he's never complacent. He sets off to do some homework on Elvis. Like the king himself, Elvis the horse is used to celebrity treatment, air-conditioned stables and 25 personal trainers. But he's worth it.
What makes a good racehorse is a horse that can save his energy. And when you work him too, he won't overexert himself. You'll have to make him do it, and he won't overexert it. Once you've stopped working him hard, he'll just drop the bridle and save his energy. That would be good horses.
Elvis might be in good shape, but Anthony is injured. Will he make the race?
He went so quick, and I fell to the side, and I hit my side on the side of the starting stalls. But I think it's just more bruise, or maybe just a hairline fracture or something. Put money in there.
It's a tense wait for the X-ray results.
Is that my result? So,
Nothing broken, nothing at all broken.
see on the other one? I'm happy nothing was broken, and it's just a bruise, and can get back on.
Anthony and his wife Candice are relieved, but it's straight back to training.
Maybe just bruising.
Every
Is
day,
that bruising?
he works his horses 3 hours in the morning, jogs, and puts in an hour at the gym. The crowds expect nothing less. Racing is top entertainment in Hong Kong. 1 million fans, but only 20,000 make it into the exclusive Hong Kong Jockey Club. The take-ins are guaranteed to be good. The Hong Kong turf accountants handle around €8 million a year. They do give some of it to charity, though. Candice waits while Anthony checks in. Will, his constant weight watching, have paid off.
Or should a beaver on there? Well, you know, very nervous. Obviously, you know, you wanna do well, and I want to enjoy my race, and at the same time, I want to stay out of trouble and not cause any interference. And you got a lot in your mind going before you even get out the starting stalls, and the adrenaline just pumps before you go out there.
You need a maverick edge to hack it in the saddle, but also a sensitive side.
I told Anthony that horse is like my baby, you know. If he cannot do it, just leave it. But don't force him to do anything or hurt him.
I've got 7 rides. Very excited. I can't wait for it.
He's race worthy and under starters' orders. Can this jockey hit the jackpot? And they're off.
You missed the start.
Anthony loses this race, but not his face. He kept Lucy's baby in one piece. 1 down, 6 shirts to go.
I just hope that he can do well in Hong Kong. It's a dream that he's wanted to ride here for so long, and finally it's come true. And I'll support him all the way. I always have and I always will.
This time, Anthony is out in front from the start.
I am worried about him quite a lot.
Come on now! Come on, Anthony!
Normally during the races, I only watch his colours. I don't watch the races that he's not in. I only follow to make sure that everything goes all right, that he's safe.
He scrapes into third place by a neck. No jackpot, but a reward from Candice for still being in one piece.
My next goal is to be champion in another country. And this is obviously going to be hard, but that's my next goal.
85,000 spectators have had a cracking day, thanks to jockeys like Anthony, who live daily with pain, hunger and stress, in return for a shot at big winnings and celebrity status. "116 years old, 324 metres high, and one of the wonders of the modern world." Not surprisingly, the French lavish a lot of time, money and tender loving care on the Eiffel Tower. And without knowing it, 6 million visitors a year rely on one man with a very rare job. Jean-Alex Foray can say he's an Eiffel engineer.
S'il n'y avait pas de maintenance, c'est comme tout équipement de production. Notre production, c'est maintenir les ascenseurs, maintenir les escaliers, maintenir les équipements électriques. S'il n'y a pas de maintenance dans une usine, très rapidement, il n'y a plus de production. Donc on serait obligé de fermer, plus d'ascenseurs, ensuite plus d'escaliers, ensuite plus personne ne monte à la tour. Ça c'est quand même, pour l'image de Paris, l'image de la France, quelque chose de désastreux.
This is maintenance on a major scale. 10,100 tonnes of puddle iron needing a coat of paint every 5 to 7 years. That's 60 tonnes of paint at a time, 1,500 paintbrushes, and it takes 25 men a year to complete. And since the tower has already had 17 paint jobs, it must have put on around 1,000 tonnes in weight. The colour at the top is darker than the bottom, so for the distant eye, it looks the same against the Paris sky. To be an Eiffel engineer, you need to be trained in absinthe. So that's the reason. There's no other way of accessing it. A natural sense of balance and ability to stay calm are obvious requirements in this trade. But Jean is a stickler for his safety. Harnesses at all times for the workers. It wasn't always like that. They used to hang on with one hand and paint with the other. Apart from the painters, Jean is responsible for a whole army of unseen workers.
Le but principal, c'est de maintenir la tour Eiffel en état, parce que le maximum de gens en profitent tous les jours. Ça représente 6 200 000 personnes par an, et certains jours plus de 30 000. Donc il y a beaucoup d'usure à certains endroits, il y a beaucoup de passages, les machines doivent être toujours fonctionnelles, et c'est là l'essentiel de notre travail. Alors ça demande des formations essentiellement techniques, avec des capacités d'apprendre des techniques dans des domaines qui n'étaient pas forcément d'autres domaines d'origine.
Jean is no armchair general. He leads from the front. Today's task is the lights. He'll need 10,000 new bulbs to do all of them. And yes, Jean knows everything you could possibly know about changing light bulbs.
Les changements interviennent suivant leur durée de vie propre. Ils sont bons lors de 3 ans pour les grosses ampoules, des gros projecteurs qui vont donner cette superbe lumière dorée à l'intérieur de la tour. Et puis d'autres tout à fait classiques, des 40 watts standards qui vont être changés peut-être une fois par an.
It seems like extreme lengths to go to, but this is a national treasure we're dealing with. climbing out onto the tower never loses its edge. Falling 300 metres would definitely kill you. And the odds are at least one of the thousands of people below too. Even men who have done it for decades like Jean stay alert. You can also add knowing about knots to the job description and being able to solve problems, however weird.
Quelquefois, de temps en temps,
sometimes workers
viennent me montrer, ils m'appellent pour venir voir quelque chose de
surprises.
particulier.
For example, this light, which is supposed to be watertight, is actually full of water.
But one of the biggest headaches is keeping the lids in order. They travel over 100,000 kilometres a year. There is one area that tourists don't get to see. Mission control.
Ça, tout cet ensemble-là,
This is the
c'est
old
l'ancien
historic
système de pilotage
semi-automatic security control
semi-automatique
machine
historique
that's been in use for
avec
90
des équipements de
years.
sécurité qui ont
Nowadays, we
fonctionné
use
pendant
computers.
90 ans.
Although this is in the
Aujourd'hui,
middle of the machine
on fait
room,
ça avec les
it's not
ordinateurs.
used anymore.
Hein. En fait, ils sont là parce qu'ils servent de passage, mais ils ne sont plus actifs.
Mission control monitors everything at the touch of a button. But Jean is particularly proud of the 200-ton counterweights that pull the lift cables up and down, because they are kept running smoothly by a pretty unexpected substance.
Et ils sont lubrifiés parce qu'il faut qu'ils puissent glisser à l'intérieur du presse-étoupe. Et ils sont lubrifiés avec de la graisse de bœuf, qui est de la graisse distillée raffinée, parce qu'on utilisait autrefois de la graisse industrielle. Aujourd'hui, ils n'en font plus. Donc on a été chercher de la graisse qui est utilisée pour faire les frites en Belgique. C'est parfaitement mangeable. Vous le faites fondre, vous mettez les pommes de terre, et ça vous donne des bonnes frites. Oui, le soin qu'on prend de notre vieille dame.
The Eiffel Tower is run on chip fat. You'll be telling us it moves next.
Oui, on ne le sent pas aujourd'hui, il n'y a pas beaucoup de vent.
Yes,
Mais c'est vrai que la tour bouge.
but we can't feel it today because the wind
La tour
is not
bouge
very
avec
high.
le vent, mais surtout avec le
The tower
soleil.
moves both because of the wind
Et surtout
and
le soleil.
because of the sun.
Il chauffe un côté, la
The
tour
heat of the
s'éloigne comme
sun
ça.
warms one side and the tower
Mais
will
c'est un mouvement
move this
très
way.
lent sur 24 heures.
It's really slow.
Tandis
It
que
takes 24
le vent,
hours.
oui, le vent, on
You
arrive
can
à le
feel the
sentir
wind
quand il y a
when
une
there's a
grosse
heavy
rafale
gust.
de vent très
And
fort.
the swaying
On
movement
arrive à
can last
sentir
for
qu'elle
3
bouge un peu
seconds.
et elle repart. Mais elle oscille sur environ 3 secondes. C'est un mouvement assez lent.
Luckily, Gustav Eiffel and Company took that into account when they designed the tower for the International Exposition of 1889. So, does anything ruffle Jean's calm exterior?
Je dirais pas dans mon métier.
I'm not
Ce
afraid of
qui
my
fait le
work.
plus peur ici, c'est
What we are most afraid of
le
is a
cinglé qui
madman
vient avec
with
un
a gun,
pistolet
or the guy who wants to jump.
ou celui qui menace de sauter. Ça,
The fear exists because
la
it
peur
can
existe
create a
parce qu'il
dangerous
peut
situation.
créer des situations
Falling on
très
someone,
graves,
or injuring,
tomber sur
killing
quelqu'un
someone,
ou
and that kind of thing, we can't
blesser, voire
control.
tuer quelqu'un. Et
What
ça,
we can
on
control,
ne maîtrise
we
pas.
are not
Ce qu'on
afraid of.
maîtrise, on n'a pas peur.
Jean has turned a passion for engineering into a pretty unusual job. Behind the scenes, his dedication keeps millions of visitors in awe of one of the world's greatest sights. Having an impressive job can be tough. You could risk public humiliation, be an unsung hero, or the unknown stuntman. Are you cool enough to handle the heat of an extreme job?
Smaller half size, and on days when you get the shotguns out, the big 2s. These ones actually smart quite a bit when you do them, so he's lucky today that we're just using a 1.
A number 1 will create an effect of a bullet hole from a handgun. Now comes the hard bit.
if the vest isn't tight against your body, because you've got quite a lot of force on top of this, when it goes off, it can push the plate back. And if you're in a position where the vest's actually sitting off your body, they'll come back and slap against you. But we do get problems sometimes with actors who've never done this kind of thing before. They expect there to be quite an impact, and if you get it just right, sometimes they don't even feel it. And we've had guys who just stood there and you do the bullet hit and they go.
Today, we have to test them down. What they want is the actors to cross frame, so they've got the arrow drawn there. They're going to cross from left to right. So as they come across, our bullet hits.
You need to understand
will start
filmmaking
just
as much as
behind them,
pyrotechnics.
so that it looks as though they're just getting out.
And be able to trade off your art against safety.
We've basically just laid in 5 bullet hits into the back of the board, covered them with steel plates to ensure that the charge goes forwards rather than backwards, and then this would normally be fixed up against the wall, and then to all intents and purposes you've got a wall with the bullet hits already pricked inside it.
A single explosive in the wrong place could end a career, even a life. If you're a born crowd pleaser, try this. Making bombs and bullets from the movies. Pushing your luck to win the jackpot. Or abseiling down a world icon. Ways to impress people or extreme jobs. We're told not to play with fire. And as for gunpowder, or highly flammable propane gas, anyone who handles all this for a living better know something about risk assessment. Johnny Rafik and Nick Rideout are pyrotechnicians. They own and operate Element Special Effects in London.
This is what we do. There's no point in worrying about what might happen that morning in terms of whether we're going to come home in one piece. The idea is that we are coming home in one piece, and so is the rest of the crew. Morning, boys.
Wise words. Nick and Johnny are specialists, and in high demand in film and television. The job begins on the drawing board, planning the next car bomb, gun battle, or inferno.
By the time it gets to 31st.
Storyboarding reduces the risk of anyone getting hurt.
How far across they're going to have to move the actors to get the camera from that angle to see the actors across.
It's imperative for us to test before any effect goes out of the workshop, regardless of what it is. It's tested if it's a pyrotechnic effect, as we're going to get into. 3, 2, 1.
This may look like boys playing with toys, but imitating danger is deadly serious.
Obviously, inherently, what we do is dangerous. There are, cases throughout, filmmaking where special effects have had, problems on them. Touch wood, we've not had anything that's actually hurt anybody or, damaged anything heavily.
The next stage is to try the explosives out on an actor. Pay attention now. The devil's in the detail.
All sorts of different sizes that we use. Today, the most used size is a D81, which is also known as an aspirin det. Some days